This is Optimized, a marketing performance podcast geared toward all things multifamily marketing. I'm your host, Janet Rosseth, a 25-year veteran in multifamily marketing and founder and CEO of Cadence Marketing Solutions. Optimizing is defined as making the best or most effective use of a situation, opportunity, process, or resource. My mission here is to bring you ideas, practices, and perspectives to help you optimize one conversation at a time with industry pros who influence multifamily marketing. You'll hear from founders, leaders, marketers, and operators who are breaking the barriers to achieve optimal performance in multifamily. This episode is brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network, delivering the latest news, ideas, and inspiration across the multifamily sector. Now, let's get into today's conversation. Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Optimized, a marketing performance podcast. I'm your host, Janet Rosseth, and we've got a little twist today on the old marketing podcast. We're pulling in a maintenance expert here, Mark Cukro with Plus One Consulting. Hi, Mark.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm glad to it's glad to be here for a happy change.
Yes, very happy change. It's not all that often that maintenance and marketing get to share space together, much less microphones. But I think you and I were able to come to an agreement that these two components are incredibly reliable on each other or reliant on each other. And we got connected because you shared a post on LinkedIn that I was incredibly drawn to for two reasons. One, because we seem to be in the same phase of life, and the other because we recognize an opportunity where maintenance saved the day on an apartment search that had been incredibly challenging for you and your daughter. And the property that you visited could have gone a whole different direction, but it was actually a maintenance tech who really saved the moment, correct?
That is correct. Yep. And
So
I'll be
let's
glad
just
to.
lead into that. Don't give too
Okay.
much away yet. That's the hook, right? We're going to keep you here, but there are a couple of other things that Mark and I are going to unpack. One is just your industry experience, what led you to the role you play now and creating Plus One Consulting, but also a Swift Bunny survey that you are literally just opening. It's hot off the presses. And this incredible story and experience that you had with your daughter. So if you could, Mark, can you just give our listeners a little backstory on your industry career path?
Sure. So I've been in the industry for over 30 years now, and on my own for 20. This will be my 22nd year. So
Incredible.
before I went on my own, I worked for Cornerstone and Colonial Properties, and I was the director of their service team development, basically in charge of maintenance and training, and a lot of the capital projects. And, it's great. I had a wonderful experience with the company, and along my career path, everyone I know kept telling me, you should speak and be a consultant. I feel like it's your calling. And after a while, I listened and I made some changes, and my wife was very supportive, and we took the risk, and I built a website and went out on my own, and I'll be celebrating my 22nd year,
That's incredible.
just in this upcoming winter. So, very fortunate to be able to travel and meet owners and investors and technicians in the field and managers and everyone in between. And I learn a lot traveling. And, the other thing too is it's one thing, to be in the service department, but when you own a business, you do have to look at things differently. And if
Yeah.
you run a business, but you've never run or managed a service department, you also have to look at that differently. So it's given me a unique perspective that I enjoy sharing.
For sure. I bet you get picked up by a lot of apartment associations too. I've been on the education committee of our local apartment association for years, and that's one of the hardest holes to fill is the maintenance category and those courses and finding someone who knows the stuff but also is interested in coming and speaking and sharing it. So, kudos to all those people who saw that in you and told you to take the leap.
Yeah, it's wonderful to look back and realize what people encouraged you, nudged you, multiplied what was good in you. And, I've done trades my entire life. My entire family either owned businesses, they were engineers, or they did something mechanical, electrical. And so I feel like that is just ingrained in me as who I am in my upbringing, as well as, going to school, of course. But What really helped was being around good people and mentors. And now I get to pour back into the community and the industry and share my experiences and insights.
Right. Wow, that's a great way to look at it, and I love how you just kinda unpacked you own a business, and so you do have to do all those other things besides the actual trade that you're so good at. You have to market, right?
You that's the thing is if you're too busy, you don't market enough. If you market too much, you're probably not too busy. So you
Always.
have to have that balance, and
Yep,
you really have to know what you're doing in the field because that is what it
yep,
is.
and if you do really know it and you leave a good impression on those that you've worked with, that marketing happens for you.
It's very organic, and
Yes. That's the
there's a
best.
saying, when it's a service industry, one good job usually leads to two more.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Yes. So you've been playing a role as a trainer for a lot of years. I'm just going to kind of lead us into this experience that you had with your daughter that connected the two of us. But what are some of the top traits that you feel like you can't say enough in training for maintenance teams?
So I'm going to use, but in my personal life, I'm also a professional jujitsu coach, and so I'm going to shift and draw some parallels from there.
Okay.
Simplest thing you could do. It really doesn't matter how you look at your company, your business, whether it's through a P&L or through people in a P&L and processes. People that train win. People that don't train don't.
Very true.
Simple, not easy, right? So that's the magic. And so the
And
traits number
probably
one.
practicing the reps too.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's there has to be this repetition and
Hmm.
you can just look at a company and a lot of times people have these wonderful articulate answers and they sound amazing in a conversation. But then you look at the stats of what's delivered to the field and there's a
Hmm.
disconnect, right? And that's hopefully what
Oh,
we
we
can
see that
discuss.
a lot. Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
it's like you have all the right answers, but I don't see all the right execution.
Yeah,
And we
that's
really need to
incredibly true. I mean,
yeah,
we see it a lot on websites for companies that have all the right brand language. It's all about
correct.
service, it's all about care of residents, care of owners. And the second you go out to reputation online, there's a very different story told.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me, especially when you own a business. You could be the most decent human being on the planet, and someone's absolutely just not going to like you for whatever reason. Like you could hand out bars of gold. Someone will
Hmm.
complain it's the wrong shape, it's too heavy, it's the wrong color. I want it differently. And
Yeah.
so there's that part of it that's
That's
inherent to
always
the
going to
business.
happen, but the
Yeah,
majority are probably happy with your work. It's just
for
unfortunate
sure.
that a lot of times Um, we're not so great about giving the happy people a really easy way to tell us about their experience. The
And
unhappy people will find a way. They will carve out time in their day to make sure that the world knows that they're unhappy.
yeah, building it up takes time, burning it down doesn't take much.
So true.
So, it's
So true.
yeah. And so I'm thankful just to have this opportunity to talk and we need to share more good news and people and things and
Yeah.
share that in the industry. And
Yeah.
so yeah,
Here's the interesting thing and what I wanna get into with your experience with your daughter that, we come across a lot of owners or properties they're really trying to drive that, prospect traffic in the door and keep those residents there, and you hear barriers like, "Well, we don't have the amenities everybody else has," or, "Our floor plans don't have a unit washer and dryer," or there's always that physical aspect that people feel like is the thing that holds them back. But in actuality, the one best, absolute best amenity you can have or feature you can have is a really solid staff team that delivers winning service. That is so marketable. So marketable.
100%. Yeah. And you'll get caught up in these things with owners too, like what's our peer group doing? What's the top 10%, the top cores? I got to tell you right now, nobody really cares about amenities except when they're on the tour. Less than 20% of your
Yeah.
residents use them on a regular basis. It is impressive during the tour,
Hmm.
but what's more impressive are the human beings and the way they interact with your customers.
A
And that
hundred
will lead to
percent.
long yeah. And so, we're singing to the choir on this one, but
Yes.
it's,
Yes.
it
So let's
amazes
talk
me.
about
Mhm.
this experience you and your
Sure.
daughter had. Take us through that moment.
So my daughter just finished, she went to early college, finished school at 20, right? And so she
Nice.
got a job in this wealth management firm and she's very sharp. She's presents herself well and she's articulate and mature for her age. So she came to that time as parents, many of you know that dad, I want to live on my own. Okay. So Suzanne and I, my wife, talked to her and we're like, let's go down the list. Now, I absolutely try to be the uninvolved dad, so I'll sit back and I'm going to just be a shadow during the tour. So, and I'm also curious how, because she thinks very differently than I do about
Mhm.
things. And she has a very good uh, process for judgments and making decisions. So I trust it and I sit back.
And
And
this is fascinating with kids that age. I have 2 daughters that are in their 20s as well, and I think it's a fascinating experiment to watch how they search and how they process that information versus how we think they search and the information they're gonna care most about.
yeah, because even the search words are different, right? So, like,
Mhm,
what I would search for, she would look at me and think, why would you use, well, we're different people and from
mhm,
different generations. And I'm looking at from more of probably a paternal uh, perspective as well as an industry professional, where to her this is all new. So it's an endeavor, it's an adventure to her, and she wants to feel like she found the right place. And the first part of her research is visual, like so many people. What do I
mhm.
see in front of me on a screen, on my phone, with my own two eyes? What visual impact am I getting? So that's the part that marketing people often overlook is what is the underlying message of everything that you're putting out there? I can tell you when you use fluffy language and verbiage that's long and drawn out, they don't believe it. That's when she would
They
turn to
want
me and say,
they want authenticity.
"Yeah, they want authenticity and they want to feel like they know the real property, not just what's online because they're so accustomed to that they see right through the superficial language and the images and things like that. It's a little too polished, I guess, would be one take on
Right.
it. And then when it was time to visit, we narrowed them down. And I don't know about most people, but this is why most of us will think pick three, pick five. Which one do you want to go to first? Do you want to go in order of preference or hope, or do you want to go in order of uh, driving, like the directions, like what's first, what's closest in proximity? And so she narrowed it down to three. And I said, okay. And, I have my opinions and I just keep quiet and she's driving and I put music on and we pull into the first property and the experience was less than optimal. The person
Already from just pulling in.
just pulling in. So the grounds look eh, right? And I don't mean like trash. There's no trash on there,
Mhm.
but there's like no pine needles. The landscaping really wasn't taken care of too well. And so this is where she is looking to see what her impression is of the facility and the people on site visually, right? So, in
Mhm.
other words, like, how fast can you tell, does that person work here or do they live here? So, if you're uncertain based on the way the service team is dressed, you don't really know who's who. So, it's why it's so important to have a clean uniform and have a good presence professionally because you could identify who to go to in a moment's notice.
It's a really
So, we
good
go
point.
into the
And I'm sure
office.
she had already been looking at photos and had an impression of the curb appeal of the property
Yes.
before she pulled in. And when it doesn't match up and you've seen this green grass, lush landscape, properly cared for, and then you pull in and it's a whole different story, you immediately form a judgment about that.
And so she felt a little let down. And now she's looking for what else is not true as opposed to
Oh,
experiencing,
interesting.
right, what is good
She's going in with skepticism instead of
instead
excitement.
of excitement. Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's so, I wish every person that was in the corporate office would put on a flannel or a hoodie, a baseball cap or whatever, jeans and sneakers, and go through the leasing process and go through the process of submitting a work order as if you live there while no one has any idea who you are.
Little undercover boss.
And just see.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause,
it would be
people,
valuable.
they know, and the networks buzz when leadership's out in the field.
Mhm.
So Yeah, so we
So
went to the
that's the
property.
very first property. Did she go all the way through with the tour?
Yeah, so we go to the tour, and the person is basically non-acknowledge. There's no acknowledgement. So
Wow.
the person's on their phone, and they look up, and it wasn't. You didn't get a nonverbal gesture that said, "I'll be with you. I'm glad you're here."
Mhm.
Basically, we got to look up, look down,
Wow.
and so that was my impression. Wow. Okay.
Listeners, if you are not watching us online right now, Mark's facial expressions just said all of it. And while I said wow to that, I'm going to be honest in saying I'm not all that surprised because it happens more than we think it does in the industry. This just, you know, ingenuine response when a prospect comes to the door, where it should be like, hey, you kept me on your short list. You narrowed me down and you're excited to be here. Let's do this. It's met with a little bit of ingenuine emotion.
Yeah, it was met with a almost a gatekeeping dismissal of, "Can I help you?"
Oh,
That was kind of what the body language. In other words, she felt like an
it's going to take
interruption
a
right
lot
away.
to rescue this one at this point, and she's
Yeah.
barely even said hello to the leasing team.
So we just said we're here to observe and, browse, and thank you. We'll be back. We left.
So no
And
tour.
then no tour. That was
Okay.
it. It was done. It was over. No chance. So
And let me
the,
just say, marketers that are listening, like we look at all the numbers across prospect behavior and conversions in our CRM systems, and we look at the amount of tours that have been scheduled off of those leads. So lead to tour. And then we look at tour to applied. There's a missing middle there. Tours that actually showed up, and there's a growing number, a higher percentage that we're finding of tours that no show, and these are some of the first reasons to dig into and see if the tour was scheduled, but the experience leading up to it caused it to be a deal breaker.
yeah, and I felt bad, Janet, because she was so excited. She got dressed up. She put on business clothes.
She
And
wants
she
to be
was like,
taken
"Dad, I wanna
seriously.
go to lunch after and just discuss." She was so excited,
Yeah, she's
and so
adulting.
it's adulting, and everything there
Mhm.
from that point on was like more of a recovery and
Yes.
hopeful as opposed to yeah. So, um, moving on to the second property, it was a pretty good experience. Landscaping was pretty good, curb appeal was pretty good. The service staff had uniforms on, so we knew in a moment, basically, that they must work there. We went in the office. She was greeted somewhat better, slightly more professional. So we thought, or at least I thought, okay, this is better. But being better wasn't much of a stretch, right?
Right,
So
right. The bar was low.
yeah, the bar was low. So we go to the property, and she liked the property. The person was personable, fairly professional, definitely had a script and followed it too rigidly.
Okay.
So she's unaware of that. But the questions were almost like an interrogation. It didn't flow very well.
Wasn't sincere.
It wasn't sincere, and
You
she
know
didn't.
when someone's trying to genuinely get to know you and become a part of your search for the next place you're gonna live, which is pretty much the biggest thing we choose in our lifestyle, right? Is where we call home. But you can tell when it's scripted like that and somebody's just reading off of this is what I'm told to ask you. Check the boxes.
You can tell, and she could tell, and I definitely could tell. So I just, what did you think? What are your thoughts on this? Would you like to look at a unit, or do you want to walk around? Would you like to go somewhere else? And so we took a look at the unit, and it was pretty good. And we go into the floor plan, and it was just not what she wanted. And I thought, okay. And she's like, it was meh at the best, right?
Yep.
So
That says
she's
a
like,
lot. Those three letters say a lot.
yeah. And so I'm like, oh man, I take so much pride in being in
Mm-hmm.
this industry. And I thought one was definitely, I wouldn't refer anyone there. And if anyone that worked there asked me, what could they improve on, it would be immediately the presence of the people, the presence of the
Mm-hmm.
prop, the presence of the energy. And then the second one was, average, which is pretty easy to achieve. So it was all right. And she thought, okay, this one wasn't that bad. Let's go look at the next one. And it was right down the block and slightly across the street. And so we pull in, and I see the landscaping company that I know is the best one regionally. So I perked up in my seat. And she said, "What?" I said, "No, nothing." and just let's go. So we pull up in front of the
That's important.
clubhouse.
That says right there that this property's taken care of.
Well, and that's exactly it. And there's people working. So I sat up in my seat and she knew right away. And
Like, let me just unpack that for a second. We all have this expectation when we go to Disney, right? That it's really well taken care of. And there's something really rewarding about actually catching them out early, early in the morning with the hoses on, like making everything sparkle. It's like being caught in the act of taking good care of it. And I think when you pull in and see the landscaper there, it's like, oh, they go beyond just mowing the lawn. Like, this is legit.
it was little things too. Like the landscaper stopped the leaf blower when we walked in front of them.
Wow. Nice.
Right. So there's small little gestures of professionalism that are just
Mm-hmm.
so easy to overlook instead of how much of the pine needles or how much of the mulch.
Right.
And so those are the behavioral factors instead of they're service factors instead of performance factors. So we go in the office and this young lady is dressed professionally, looks like $1,000,000, very professional, well put together, stands up, hello, you must be Alina, which almost everyone gets her
Oh,
name wrong. And
I love that she
she
greeted her by name
it came
and
out from
knew she
behind the
would
desk.
knew to expect her.
She knew to expect her immediately. And she said, I don't want to assume, but are you the dad or a friend or an uncle? I said, nope, I'm the dad. And she said, okay. And she's like, that's really nice that you did this together. And
Oh,
now I want to back up for the meaningful moment, which kind of set this whole thing up, is when we get out of the car, the supervisor pulls up in the golf cart. He's just driving and hits the brakes. And he's like, hey, how are you guys doing? He's like, told us his name, introduced himself. He's like, I'm the supervisor here, and I'll be the guy that's, if there's anything broken or anything you need, I'll be the guy fixing it. And I don't know if you live here, but if you don't, I hope you do. And you'll be seeing me. So anything that
nice.
needs to be taken care of, I'll be the guy. And I just want to say hello. Got in his cart, drove away.
That is a
And
guy who is excited about his job and the role that he plays at the property.
the thing is, how easy could it have been to just drive by, give a look, wave, give a
Yeah,
nod? Mm, he got out, he parked, he left the vehicle, said hello, he shook my hand and said hello to her. And she was like, Dad, I'm impressed.
right.
And then we went into
And
the
that's kind
office.
of impressive,
It's impressive.
actually, for your daughter's age, because there's a certain factor with that age group that they almost like don't want to be too talked to. They kind of, they prefer the texting, electronic, but she was legitimately looking for someone to acknowledge that she's a buying customer.
Well, the thing that struck me in her generation too is a lot of times they prefer the non-personal communication. But during this process, what came up after talking with her, because to me, the car ride with your children is just as valuable as any
I
other
couldn't agree
experience.
more. Windshield time is the best.
It's right. And so she's like, I wonder if any place has a way for us to meet people our age. She's like, I wish I never had a smartphone. I wish I had a flip phone. She's like, when you grew up, you guys just walked up to strangers and
Yeah.
started talking to them. I said, well, yes, I'm dating myself, but yeah, a little.
Yes.
And not one of the communities had a place for residents to meet each other.
It's interesting you said that, Mark, because I just got home from the Zillow Unlock conference last week, and they had an expert on Gen Z as one of the sessions. And I mean, I was taking notes. She was literally word for word capturing my daughters. And that was one of the biggest things that came up is that they really want these organic opportunities to meet other people phone free, device free, and go and have a community and have a way to meet people. It's so challenging right now.
Yeah, it's tough because we're connected more than ever before, but we're disconnected as humans in the
Hmm.
relationship kind of like engagement.
Yep.
And so we can talk to each other, electronically, but verbally, there's a big, big
Yeah.
opportunity to improve.
I love that she pointed that out.
Yeah. To the point where her and some of her friends, they actually meet new people on apps and they get vetted before they get introduced to each other. And she said, it would be nice to just talk to my neighbor. Like, I don't
Yeah.
even know yeah. And so we went in the office. We were greeted wonderfully, professionally, kindly. And the thing that really got her is she said, and she used this word, which is why I put it in what I posted, is it was warm and genuine.
Oh, I love that.
And the word warm is what stuck out to me.
Mhm.
And so we went through the process and we're going through the platform and at this point she's like, "Do you work in this industry? Your voice sounds very familiar." I said, "Well,
No, really?
yeah, yeah, yeah." So I'm trying not to give it away. And she's like, I don't know. You just have this familiarness about you. And I said, "Well, I don't, I'm kind of that guy wherever I go, someone thinks they've met me before." And she figured it out later. And
As you
so,
unpack your sunglasses and your hat,
yeah, and
go incognito.
It but it was interesting to see her, like, genuinely connected, and then, of course, the platform had glitches, and it froze, and I don't know what's wrong with it, and I gotta call the person, and the qualifying process was really long, the fees were just ridiculous, but,
Oh,
uh,
no. That's a hot
the
topic right now too, the transparency of fees when renting.
it yeah, and so, I'm like, "Wow, this is educational for me too," and so she had a wonderful human experience. The platform failed, she didn't. To
I
the point
love
where my
that.
daughter
Can you please say that again?
that the platform failed and she didn't.
That is fantastic.
Yeah,
There is
and
recovery from that. When the tech doesn't work for you, you can certainly still recover from it.
yeah, the thing is, like, and then so here's what happened, and this is just I mean, it's the epitome of what this conversation is about. She said, "Well, the unit is not perfectly ready, so you have a few choices. You can go to a different one, but my daughter wanted this one in the particular location."
Mhm.
And so we went to the office. She said, "I'll tell you what, Dad, you tell me what you think. We'll brainstorm a solution, and what you want to do is what I want you to do. You can move into this one immediately. If you want to wait 4 weeks, then maybe you could stay at home, or you could stay where you are, or maybe, and if you can't, that's fine. But we'll give you a garage free on us. We'll renovate the apartment. The garage is right across the parking lot. And when it's ready, we'll let you know and you can inspect it. And if anything else needs to be done, you let us know. And when you move in, it will be perfect. And you just move across the parking lot." And that's what we did.
Nice. Nice. She spelled it out really nicely.
I mean, I just couldn't ask for a better experience. And the thing for her is the human connection. And it's easy to look at things from a report and a status report and a P&L and
Mhm.
same store and look at all the marketing and what platforms you're on and what the top, top 20-25% of the peer groups are doing. But the humans in the field are the ones that make and multiply connections, good or bad. And that human being completely made this possible to the point where my daughter was so impressed, she bought her a gift when she moved in.
Oh, that is so nice.
Yeah.
That is so nice.
And
You
the
know,
leasing agent didn't know what
you're
to do.
totally right, and I think that whether you're a first-time renter or you've rented many times over or you're coming back after home ownership, I think people genuinely understand that the people that they meet in the process of renting the apartment are setting the stage for how they're gonna be cared for throughout the next one-year lease or however long they sign for. So if they have any doubts going into signing a lease, that weighs very heavily. It's not the same as, we talk about how much we align with hospitality, and we do. We align with hospitality, we align with hotels, but you get to not stay. You don't like it, you might lose 150, $200, but you get to make a choice and not stay. But we
Right.
sign people into a 12-month or longer lease, and the opportunity that we have to show them how much we're going to care for them and the property throughout that term happens in that 30 minutes, if that's what you get, of a tour.
It takes less than 30 seconds. So here's kind of my perspective on this. It takes 10 seconds before someone is tired of waiting for you to acknowledge them. It takes
Well,
about 30
especially if you're standing right there.
if you're in
Especially
the
if they're
door.
right there in the room with you and they haven't even taken the opportunity to give you the single, the one finger that just says, "Hey, I see you." Yep, I'm on. You can tell if somebody's
Or
on a
whatever.
phone. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you
I
can
used to
tell.
train on that all the time with leasing agents too, and how fast shoulders drop and stance softens just by being acknowledged with a simple, friendly face.
Yeah, then whoever you're with will just start conversing.
Yep. Yep.
And then you're like, "Oh, like, you it's fine. I
Yeah.
know you're busy." Like, everyone in the office would take all the pressure off their property and themselves if they could, and the same thing with a
Yes.
prospect. But,
Absolutely.
if you're an owner or a manager, what would you sign 12 months for after a 1 day
Yeah.
or 30-minute experience? Would you pay
Yeah.
thousands of dollars a month? And it
No.
doesn't matter
And
what it is. I mean, yeah,
if this is the experience that you've had, like, let's go back to property 1 where she really didn't get a warm greeting at all. Um, if she even felt like she still wanted to take the time to consider that property, I'm sure she would go out and read the reviews and check to see if that is a common occurrence or it was just a bad day that she experienced. If she felt like taking the time. And same is true for that last property that she had a really good experience with. She might go out and look at reviews to just confirm that that is indeed the common experience. And she might see a couple of reviews that are off the norm and negative and plant that seed of doubt. But the more she sees that says, yes, I had this experience, people have moments in time where everything doesn't go perfect. But at the end of the day, they're nice, they're kind, they care, and they want me to live here.
and that goes a long way. And,
Hmm.
the younger generation is very savvy at identifying trolls. So they can see when
Yes.
someone's trolling a property or
Yes.
just being vindictive or
Yep.
revengeful, if you like. And yeah, they know. I mean,
Yeah.
they're so accustomed. If
Well,
you're
they've
all five
grown up on
stars,
it. They've
yeah,
grown up on it. I don't
they
know if you
grown up.
did this with your kids, but my girls are in their 20s and they've known since probably 8 to 10 years old. Don't buy anything without reading reviews and don't bring it to me if it's got 5-star reviews, but there's only 3 reviews.
Right.
You need
Yeah.
quantity, you need volume, you need some negative, some positive. Like they've been shopping via reviews since they were kids.
Yeah, they know. It's
Mhm.
just, and so, but the thing they don't know is the social interaction, right? That's
Mhm.
new to them, much newer to them than it was, say, to us. But
Yep.
the being able to assess things online for a presence, they're very savvy. They're skilled.
Yes.
And
Yes.
now, on a
And like
positive
you
note,
said, they know when they're being advertised to, they know when something is too heavily marketed,
yeah,
and they wanna go out and have the authentic version of it.
and
So
so
she ended up renting?
she ended up renting. She's still there, and yeah, it's just whenever she needs something, they're on it like that. And, like, when is the last time you gave a gift to someone in a leasing office where they got it out of the kindness of someone's heart,
Right.
genuinely? And
Right.
the leasing agent was like, I can't even tell you the last time someone brought us a gift.
That's so
And it
thoughtful.
was just homemade candles, right? With a little
Yep.
bag full of snacks. But I got to tell you, it's
You should be
certainly not
very
going to hurt.
proud. You've raised a lovely young woman.
Yeah, if you can't tell, I'm very proud. We have wonderful children. We're so blessed. And, but the service team, right? So in the
Mhm.
field, they are the experiential component. They are the relationship component of your business. And they are diplomats. They're ambassadors. And they either represent and build the brand or they represent and deconstruct the brand. And, you could say whatever you want, but you have to be connected to people in the field. And if you're
Mhm.
disassociated, they disconnect, they create distance, and they disappear, and your business declines. So you have to stay engaged and they have to understand. And here's kind of what I'd like to say to everyone that's a manager and above watching this. You need to lead what you need for in the field. If you need a specific competency, you need to lead that way and develop those skills through, and whether it's social, technical, hard skills, soft skills, whatever category you want to place it in. But you have to teach technicians how important they are for running your business successful. And I can tell you the property that we visited, it was evident. If you listen to the language, it was us, our, me, mine, our property, my property, not the place where I work, not, that
Right.
company. It was
Right.
my company,
That's
our
taking
company.
ownership right there.
It, and
So
yes, and
meaningful. Mhm.
yeah. So, and if you don't look professional, you won't be addressed professionally,
Yeah,
generally
I think
speaking.
that's a really good point too, because even if not in uniform, at least in a shirt that has the company logo on
That's
it
it.
and, tidy looking, you're going into people's homes. And when you're, knocking at someone's door, maybe holding keys even, there's a sense of security that you want to feel like you know who it is that's coming into your home.
Well,
And
and,
that's
if you look at
important.
it like this way, my daughter was like, "Okay, can you reinforce the door frame?" Absolutely, right? So, because she looks through the peephole
Yeah.
and she's going to judge whether she's comfortable or not
Hmm.
opening the door for you.
Yeah.
And if now she saw the supervisor, and lo and behold, he was the guy on the other side of the peephole, and she opened the door with a smile. If it wasn't someone she knew, she might ask, "Can I help you?" And if you don't have a uniform that communicates the distinction that you work there, she might not be that comfortable. So you can be, you don't have to be in like a business casual, just a polo shirt with the company
Hmm.
name and a jacket and a hat, just something that proves or communicates that you work there. It just reduces the likelihood of being the wrong person,
Right.
and you're more of the right person trying to get in.
Right. I mean,
Mhm.
again, like our children have been raised in the era of Ubers.
Yeah,
And make sure you check the driver's license, make sure you check the name of the driver, make
yeah,
sure everything matches. Like, this is what they're learning to do. Yeah.
yeah. So, but
This
yeah, it
is
was a great
I
experience.
love unpacking this whole story because I just
Yeah,
think you just captured exactly what we always hope to train in leasing, that, all the things, the zero moment of truth before a prospect has even actually engaged with the leasing person. There are all these little variables that play out and determine whether or not you walk in ready to lease feeling positive or already feeling suspicious.
yeah. It's like her ability, and this is what made me proud too. We talk about this all the time. Is you have to have the ability to see little red flags and avoid them before they become big red flags. And so she was all over it, and she loves living there, but I will say this, she hasn't used the tennis court once.
Nope.
She she
It's all
hasn't
very impressive.
she sat outside at the pool once with a cappuccino,
Mhm.
and, and so she doesn't use, well, she used the fitness center once or twice, but by and large, she doesn't really use them. What she wants to do is be able to walk around with her pet outside, maybe meet a few people, and feel
Mhm.
comfortable and outside alone. And, if she runs into someone that they'll at least say hello. And, it's like anything.
Yeah.
You go to a hotel and they blow you off, you think, what are
Yeah.
you doing? If they say hello, you know whether it's authentic or not.
What you just said too about, her hope to just be able to walk around the property with her pet and hope to maybe meet a person here and there, like this is genuine and true for a lot of renters, especially those that are relocating, haven't lived there before, don't have a neighborhood, don't have a friend group yet. You're the connector. Those people working on the property are the connector. You can take the moment to say hi and make somebody feel good about their day. You can even take another step and introduce them to someone else. And
That's
all
all
of
you
a
got to
sudden
do.
they feel like, okay, I've been I'm now part of the community. I know two people.
Yeah. And then you'll go through
Yeah.
social circles, but at least be the one that
Yes.
attempts, and if they don't want,
Yeah.
you can read the room. If someone doesn't want to talk to you, just move on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Exactly. I love this. Let's unpack this Swift Bunny survey that you mentioned at the start of the podcast because I am dying to hear what all was captured on there.
Okay. So the basic,
Give
and
us the background on the
I
survey.
have it right here. So basically, it's it's called Operation Tools, Technology, and Insights. And so the owners and the leadership at Swift Bunny and I have been talking over the years. And so I had an idea. I was talking with Lisa Trezine, and her and I were having a conversation, and we just started to talk about maintenance. And she mentioned something, and then the idea took off, and she was like, "I think you should be the person to do this." And I said, "Well, that would be great." So I contacted Swift Bunny, and I spoke with Jen and Kara and Doug.
Mhm.
And basically, it's the first survey of its kind. It's the largest one ever done. It's the most participants ever. We have 1,047 technicians and 22 companies that participated in this.
Nice.
And it was exclusively for technicians in the field. So we
Wow.
go over operations, technology, experience, work orders, relationships, employee retention and training. And the the findings are remarkable, and if anyone ever says, well, show me the data, well, here it is. And if you want it, I'll give it to you. It's 36 pages. You can have it. It's why we did it. And
I
it
would
took
love to
months
see
to
it.
get.
Also, listeners, Mark Cukro will put his LinkedIn credentials up too to make sure that you can get a copy of this survey.
Yep. Now it'll ask you to just put an email in so you can get the PDF email to you. That's it. There's no strings attached. And, like for example, um, if you don't mind, I'll speak on training and then I'll speak on something else too. But
Please
uh,
do.
uh, 2/3 of the industry, 2/3 of service technicians get less than 1 hour of training per month.
Wow.
2/3, less than 1 hour. Now, let me just qualify this as well. Certifications are not training. They're transfers of liability from an organization to put the burden on an individual to know better and be held accountable. They're not skill training.
Interesting.
It's like a driver's license. Now you can be held accountable and you
Mm-hmm.
can operate the vehicle. That doesn't mean that you'll do so skillfully. Now, something else here is 37% said instructions provided to residents are not clear on how to do basic things such as use your own appliances.
I believe that.
And actually, the one specifically for appliances, I'm reading them here. I have not yet put it all in memory. 49% at move-in, residents are not provided with instructions on how to use home appliances and systems.
49%? I'm actually surprised
49%.
it's not higher,
Yep.
to be honest.
Yeah. Well, let's say half, right? Close,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
But this was
And
not residents that responded to it. This was maintenance techs that
this was
responded
maintenance
to it.
technicians.
Yeah.
And we did. Now, what else is interesting too is the quickness of response. So, for example, if you do a marketing survey, it's generally reasonable to consider everybody reports or replies to you within a week or two of this report going out because they're at
Mhm.
their desks, they have access to emails immediately, and they have the resources they need. It took almost 6 months to get these results from the field.
Wow.
So just the speed and response is a very telling experience on from our perspective.
Yeah.
Now, let's see.
Well, I imagine, I mean, you're asking for people who are out on the job in the field doing the work, not on the other end of a computer,
Correct.
to weigh in on this and to hear about it. So hopefully you had over 1,000 responses on this one. Hopefully, when you do another one next year, if you're going to, the word spreads
Mhm.
and it gets faster and faster and bigger and bigger.
Well, that's the hope. And the other piece of that is the supervisors are not getting email addresses, yet they're supposed to run a business.
Right. True.
So,
Hmm.
if we want them to operate and they have operational awareness and performance, they have to have a way to communicate. Right.
Yep.
And so I think that was it. The other thing here is 1 in 3 maintenance team members are interrupted 6 times a day, more than 6 times. So if you look
I
at, like,
can't
say, a
imagine
service,
how that's not true and how it's not higher.
well, okay, it gets higher. Okay. The percentage gets less, but the overwhelming percentage, the largest percentage group was more than 6 times. So
Wow.
if let's just say you pay somebody, if you're an owner and you're listening to this and you're like, I want to maximize my payroll and budget and production. Every time you interrupt someone, it's 20 to 40 minutes of lost payroll and production.
Hmm.
6 times a day, that's basically half their workday because the average American in service industries only works about 5.5 hours a day out of 8
Yeah.
because the rest is transportation, breakdown, setup, cleanup, administration. So you're really uh, impeding your progress for production if you let service team members be interrupted in the field and taken off a task.
How do you train and teach maintenance technicians to respond to those interruptions?
So the thing is, and it generally comes from company culture overall and
Hmm.
leadership. But is it important or is it urgent? Just ask those two questions. Is it emergency where I have to drop everything I'm doing right now, or do you want me to get to it sometime today? And if you just ask those two questions, most often the person feels a sense of urgency, false urgency with the resident there. So they'll interrupt. And if the supervisor says, well, I'll tell you what, let me finish what I'm doing, or the technician, I'll be there sometime today.
Hmm.
That's all they need to know. So the more that you can defer those interruptions and put them into the queue of work, it could be the same day or the next day, but just ask. Is this a drop everything I'm doing
Right.
emergency, or do you just want it done? Because everything's important, but
Mhm.
not everything is urgent.
Right.
So I,
Right.
I would start there.
It's a good
hmm
tactic.
And so the thing for the teams too is if you look at companies as a whole, the employee development has to also be situational, right? And what technicians mostly want is technical training. What management wants is liability training for them first. And
So
I get it,
true.
you know,
Mhm.
but we do have to have those two meet. But when you teach people, and let me just say this, the top performing companies in all customer service in every niche and corner of the service industry, if you train your employees how to run your business successfully, they'll run your business successfully. If you tell them they should just know better, you should already know that. You should do it in the field. It's just common sense. Why is it so hard? They can only guess on what got them praised in the past and reprimanded in the past, and they will judge accordingly by those two basic criteria. So the more conversations you can have, the more effective the people will be in the field, and the more they will promote, market the experience component of your company, because the
Right.
experiential component is what really makes it memorable for people.
Yeah. I mean, let's go back to your daughter's move-in. From the marketing side and the leasing side, we train all the time that the resident makes a decision to renew their first lease on move-in day and in that first 2 weeks. If they don't feel incredibly grateful to have moved into that apartment, happy with the choice that they made, everything in that first 2 weeks is weighed against that. And you're talking about people who potentially came out of another rental experience or moved out of another housing situation where they had to clean their way out and pack up their stuff, and they were anticipating their move at the new property to be cleaned and ready and could move right in. So if that experience isn't met, it's already being judged in that first 2 weeks of, did I make a poor decision? Do I need to get out of this at the end of my lease? So knowing that, and knowing that our maintenance teams really are they're the staff member who has the most interaction with a resident between move-in day and renewal day. They have so much impact on the experience that residents have. How do you train them? What do you train to make sure that the impact understanding is there?
So, number one, standards, right? And people have to
Mhm.
know standards are not personal. Don't take them personal. Don't make them personal. You either meet them or you don't. And then we will train you not only in the hard skills, but the soft skills, the leadership, the communication. How do you frame a reply in a better way?
Mhm.
Like, I don't understand why that keeps happening. Can you help me understand what's taking place so we can figure this out together? So now you're making the person an advocate and a participant instead of
Mhm.
someone that is resistive and defensive.
Yeah, instead of, "I've already fixed that 3 times, what do you keep doing to it?"
Yeah, and you know what? Listen, you have every right to be up. So there's this called AER statement, right? So, it's
Spell that out
acknowledge,
again.
AER,
Okay.
acknowledge, empathize, and reinsure. So reassure. So you can start with that. You have every right to be mad. I know we've been here 3 times. Frankly, I'm a little embarrassed, but it was 3 different things. And if you don't mind, I'll come in and I'll do my best. I would prefer not to see you about this again, but the next time I see you, I'd like it to be pleasant where you say hello. Most people automatically will shift into a mode of let me enable you to help me,
Yeah.
as opposed to stop assigning blame. And so if you're trying to constantly win and be right, it's tough to do what's right. And most people, when they're upset, they're not upset at you. They're upset at the situation.
Mhm.
And moving is one of the most stressful things that people could
It
do in their
is.
lives. They're all stressed out. They're trying to move. They're in boxes. Everything is converging on them all at once.
Mhm.
And the last thing they want is some excuse from someone in the office that they feel like misrepresented what the experience would be,
Yep.
make an excuse. Now, this is not to beat up anyone in the office, because there are plenty of companies and staffs that are absolutely wonderful that do an
Mhm.
amazing job. This is just, but we tend to focus on what goes wrong to fix it when we also need to keep multiplying what goes well.
That's so true.
And so what goes well, multiply. What goes wrong, correct and multiply.
Mhm.
And so I would start with that part of it and letting people know, like anything, once you can relate it to their lives, like Ask anyone, true or false, the way someone talks to you. Do you want to be spoken to respectfully or disrespectfully? Do
Yep.
you think that situation was handled or could have been better? You know, if someone said that to your mom or one of your children or someone that you really admired and respected, and they spoke to them that way, how would you take that message?
Right.
And so, making things, the thing with technology is it should enhance performance. It can't dehumanize your business. And when you dehumanize your business because of technology, it's very difficult to make human connections, which is what Gen Z is starving for at an alarming, like you can't even
Yeah.
imagine how much they really do. And so the training, and here's the thing with training, it's no matter what, you're going to training. It's not an option, and here's the thing, if you lead by example, well, then show me. Lead. Go to the classroom. Show me that you're a student as well as a leader. Show me that you ask questions in front of people, and, then there's different styles of leadership, of course, for different times, but in the service industry, you have to have discipline, right? No matter
Yep.
what, you're going to training. I don't wanna hear it, you're going to training. We'll do without you. Let let the work build up as long as it's not a disaster,
Look
and
at it
then you
as
have
an
to have presence.
opportunity too. Even if you think you already know what you're being trained on, if you're in a classroom with other people, you either have an opportunity to help them understand the concept better or to hear different perspectives on it.
Well, or, like, help someone else. Are you really
Hmm.
that arrogant that
Yeah.
you would think there's nothing I could learn?
Hmm.
I've been in this industry for 30 years, I learn every day.
Me too. Same.
I mean, how do you know so much
Yep.
and you're not learning, and most of the people that are at the top of their, industry are, like, eager, hungry students,
Yeah. Yeah.
and what I will say, though, is when you send those teams to the training, they go in skeptical, and they always come out grateful.
Yep.
"You know what?
I
I
mean,
did
food
that."
helps too.
Having food helps, and I will say this, everyone watching this, please let me say this, Janice, no more pizza for lunch. Stop ordering pizza for lunch. I can't even tell you, stop. And, so, yeah, but the thing is the training is, if you look at the training, what do most people in the field want? It's very different than what management wants, and you have to make time for both.
Yeah.
And the
That's a good
good
point.
companies always have mentorship as well.
Yeah, it's a very good point, and I think you really do. You learn from example, but you also learn from those wins being celebrated. And I'm a big fan when you've got some sort of a survey tool or reputation management tool, and you're seeing reviews come in that outline the impact that maintenance makes. Guess who's the last one to hear that they're making such an impact if you don't put it out there?
That they are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I have to
mean,
tell you, like,
I
the
was
industry
just
as a
looking in
whole,
a yeah, I was just looking at a platform for a client, and their maintenance reviews were coming in at like a 4.9. That's incredibly strong and incredibly marketable. And it just made me question, like, do these teams know how valuable they are and how high these ratings are? Like, you guys need to celebrate this.
well, because they have the service-based mindset, they're very good at
Mhm.
troubleshooting, and they don't really like to get praise, but they love it
Mhm.
inside, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
the other thing is, like, for managers too, if you make people dread coming to you or asking for tools and resources, they're just gonna stop coming to you.
Yeah.
And
It's true.
so, we have to get them the tools and the resources that they need, and yes, that means buy them tools if you need to. What does it cost? A couple $100 to be able to work
Yeah.
every day with everything you need? So, I would just consider that cost of business and,
Yeah. So
just
many
communicate with the field, right? And keep the
so many
organization simple.
opportunities here to really dig deeper into how easy it would be to market the service standards at a property if you know they're high.
Yeah, and
I
I will
mean, you would outperform those properties with all the fancy amenities, those properties with all the fancy features. Like, people wanna know that they're gonna be cared for by a good solid team, and that
it's
speaks
so
volumes, and even if it doesn't get you the first tour, if it's the second thing after a prospect tours properties and then they go back and start reading reviews, you plant that little seed of, "Hey, listen, I know that, it's tough to nail down a choice, but remember when you sign a year-long lease, you're also experiencing the service team at the property. Here's our standards." Mic
Well, I
dropped.
have a client that, yeah, dropped the mic, and they have their shops. Their shops is part of the tour.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
And
I like that.
yeah, and they're like, "Hey, listen, this is where everything takes place. This is the heartbeat of our service. It's
Very cool.
clean, it's organized, it's
Fascinating.
efficiently operated."
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Tidy.
so
Like that says a lot. It's tidy. People know where their tools are.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's what's funny too is I'll hear this a lot. This is a kind of a scapegoat. Usually time and money are the top 2 excuses for not doing something, but also I hear this all the time. "Well, what if we buy them tools and they take the tools?" Well, then you hired a thief, right? It's like, if someone stole your toilet paper, would you never buy any again because it might be
Right.
stolen?
Right.
It's like, get them the tools that they need
Right.
and just watch work multiply.
Oh my
And
gosh. Right.
if everyone has everything, and if they have to wait for a tool, you need to get them a tool.
Yeah. Very true. I love this whole conversation, and I have to say coming on here, I knew we were gonna have a really great conversation, but here we are at the almost hour mark, and I have so many things I could talk to you about. So clearly, there is a benefit of putting marketing and maintenance on a mic together, right? We drew out a lot
Yes.
of conclusions today. I really want to make sure, I have one more question for you that I ask
Sure.
every guest, but I want to
Absolutely.
make sure that our listeners know where to find you so that they can get that survey.
Sure. So you can serviceteamtraining.com is my website. Service, like service industry, service team, like we're a team, training. Serviceteamtraining.com. And if you send me an email, I will send you a link immediately, as long as I'm not on a call. And you can download the report. And I want you to share it with everyone, because I can promise you, if you look at that report and you're serious and you act on the results that we have, your maintenance and service team will help build that gut feeling that just makes your property feel right to people.
Yes.
And
I know
so
you know your stuff. I know this survey is going to be really great. And you're pretty active on LinkedIn too. So, listeners,
pretty
if you
much,
pop over and find Mark on LinkedIn, I'm sure you can get the survey that way too.
yeah, I'll be glad to send it to anyone that wants it. So just thank you for having me on this. And
Of course.
it's
Okay,
nice to
hold up
share
though.
like
One final
personal story.
question.
No, we're
This
good.
is
Well, I
my
mean, but
final
I'm just
question that I
grateful to be
ask
here.
everybody because the
Sure.
podcast is called Optimized. I ask all of my guests, how do you personally optimize to bring 1% better every day? You probably
So
have some habits in your week that you have just ingrained as part of your daily and weekly routine.
yeah, so there's times that I block out that are for something specific, and no interruptions whatsoever are allowed. So the thing with the 1% a day is it has to be in your routines, and you have to develop those routines and the discipline. And it, I don't feel like doesn't even, it's not allowed to be said. I'll do it later, not allowed to be said. So you have to have discipline, right? And that's where, when motivation wears out and wears off, you'll have this. And the discipline starts with your thoughts, with your actions, and you don't just make up your mind someday. You physically change your behavior, and your mindset will follow. And the mindset that follows is one that is an achiever, a doer, someone that makes things happen, that invests in themselves. Because if you don't invest in yourself, nobody else will.
Hmm.
If you don't take yourself seriously, nobody else will. And you cannot improve the lives of other without improving the life for your own self. And so if you pour into yourself enough, you'll spill out into everybody around you. And that is 1% a day.
That's
So
profound.
you have to do that. And if you want to find deep meaning and results and make deep changes, you have to go deep into who you are as a human
Hmm.
and stop letting your mind trick you into being efficient and doing things later. It's not being efficient, it's being avoidant.
I
And you
think
have
that's
to
such
not
an
stand for
important
your own needs.
message for everybody, but especially you and I being business owners. It's even more important because nobody does that for you.
Nobody. Here's the thing too. You are your own best mental coach. You will never have a
Hmm.
better mental coach. However, every coach needs a coach. Every coach
Yep.
needs an encourager. And as business owners, that hustle, you have to keep lighting that fire every day.
Yep.
And you got to make it burn, because the only fire that burns is the one that you keep putting fuel in. And the person
So
that you put
true.
fuel in is you. So that
I
would be
love
my
that.
message.
That is
Hmm.
a great message, really
Yeah.
great message. Let me tell you, I am really encouraged by you and your 30 years in the industry and the impact you've made. And I want to go back to something that you said when you were
Sure.
explaining that third tour that your daughter was on, and that the um, property manager potentially recognized your voice.
Yes.
Does that not say something, Mark, that the most impressive property you were on that really delivered such good customer service, maybe at some point in time heard you and your message and
So
started achieving it?
well, that's yeah. So at the end of the conversation, she leaned in. And she's like, "Are you sure you're not in the industry?" I said, "Okay, well, I have to let
Maybe
the
a
cat
little.
out of the bag, so to speak." And she's like, "I knew I've heard that voice on training," and she knew.
Oh, look
And
it.
my daughter was like,
It's
"Dad," I was
it's
like,
out
"I
in the real world
yeah,
working.
yeah,"
Nothing more
and
rewarding than that. That says a lot.
yeah, and
Well,
so yeah, so that was it, and it was.
that's
Then
really
we all
cool.
laughed about it, and it's just so she says hello when I go over to my daughter's to get a cappuccino or something.
Love
Hmm.
that. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah,
This was such a cool conversation. And listeners, if you liked what you heard, please share it, give it a like, give us a comment on it. This is one that crosses over a lot of different audiences, whether you're a property manager or your maintenance or your marketing or operations somewhere. But I think this one really has the ability to be shared and heard by a lot of different positions. So thank you so much, Mark.
you're very welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for taking the time today for this session. I hope you found a bit of inspiration and wisdom to optimize your performance. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, like, leave a review, and share it with your network. And remember, this podcast is proudly brought to you by the Multifamily Media Network, your trusted source for stories, trends, and insights in multifamily living. If you're a marketing influencer, be sure to check out Cadence Marketing Solutions at cadencems.com. We've made it our mission to support marketers and lead you to the voices, resources, and tools that impact your success in this fast-paced industry.